This is a big season for Washington State football, and KREM 2 is here to bring you all the updates. Hey there, I'm KREM 2 Sports Director Travis Green. Thanks for watching us on KREM 2 Plus. Here now is an update on the Cougs.
Washington State football's head coach Jake Dickert met with the media today to reminisce on Saturday's big win over Wisconsin in Madison. But he says even though he's proud of his team's efforts on Saturday, he's moving forward to this weekend against Colorado State.
Coach, first thing, just kind of want to ask, has it kind of sunk in that you and your team went into Wisconsin and won?
It has. I mean, we had a team meeting at 7 a.m. this morning, and we had an opportunity to watch it and learn from it and grow from it. And, you know, like I said, it's one of those things, you just believe in a process. And, you know, that's the maturity of this football team. But we believed we could do it. You know, this wasn't some upset of a lifetime and those things. We went in there thinking that we could get the job done if we played the way we were capable of playing. So, you know, that's an inner thing, and that's the confidence that a team needs to have a belief each and every week you can go win big football games.
You know, 2-0 obviously is the most important number of anything. Through 8 quarters, you know, maybe a little bit of up and downs from the offense, you know, a little bit of maybe some unsettled moments for Cam so far. What have you kind of seen and kind of see, what does it kind of look like for you going forward?
Well, I think it's a collective of things. It's never one person. It's never one play. It's never one moment. You know, and we're still battling through. You know, I think the offensive line has done a solid job, but there's some times where we need to firm up the pocket. And, you know, I thought the receivers played a lot better in this football game, and they played hard and tough and were physical down the field. And, you know, Cam created some things. There's some havoc going around him. And that's again going to be one of the best defenses in the country, right? So, you know, I don't think you can always measure success by scoring a ton of points. Yes, we want to be better. Yes, we need to be cleaner. Yes, we need to execute and not turn the ball over. I think those are obvious things that we're going to need to do to continue to win. But at the same time, to run 5.5 minutes off the clock, the way they did it in that environment is impressive. That it's not sexy. That's not in a stat sheet. No one celebrates that, but it's there. So we're grinding through some things. It's new. We're in game 2. We've learned a lot about ourselves and what our players can do, and we need to continue to shape this offense into the strengths of what our guys can do. So it'll be a continued project, and I know there's a lot of learns from this tape that guys are going to see themselves doing now. And I said this last week, but you know, Christian Hilborn, he's got 2 games under his belt. Orion Peters, I mean, you know, the tackles have now played out there for a couple games. So we're not going to accept excuses. We won't. We'll keep learning and getting better, and our guys are working and our staff is working to make sure that, you know, we're still having the ability to stretch the ball down the field. Okay, I think that's the one thing we got to be able to show capabilities of doing.
One thing I want to ask about, the play that Lincoln makes on Saturday, the strip to get you guys the ball back. If you had to summarize New Wazoo in a play, is that it right there?
100%. I mean, and we showed it to the team. And, you know, Lincoln ended up out of bounds. He could have stayed out of bounds, right? He could have said, oh, man, it's not my ability to make this tackle. He goes flying in there and he strips the ball. And then if you go to the next phase of it, there are 3 players that are closer to Connor Gomnis to the ball, okay, that have a different colored jersey on. And Connor just submarines and gets the ball. And on the first interception, Nakia saves probably 70 yards of yardage by going and making a tackle. Quinn Roth, I mean, to just turn and burn and never stop and punch the ball out, that's effort. That's what we talked about last week of responding to, and I thought our guys did that.
When you watch the film of the defense specifically, how would you just kind of sum up their effort that you saw? You know, did it give you kind of flashbacks to last year, kind of that bend not break? Maybe doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but you know, kind of that resilience.
It gave me flashbacks to like when I used to coach with Wyoming, and that was a daily deal, and it was a physical football game in there. I know our guys are feeling that today. But we just kept throwing things at them. And you can never just do one thing against a good run team. You got to blitz. You got to change the surfaces. You got to attack. You got to play man. So proud of our run defense, you know, and I thought to not give up a huge explosive run, which is something that their offense really depends on, I think is important. But I think it just shows, you know, to our coaching staff and our guys buy-in to how we needed to play that game. And trust me, it wasn't always pretty. And there was sometimes you look at that tape and you go, oh boy, that one could have popped. But there's guys in there separating and making plays. And we didn't always do that a couple of years ago. So hats off to these guys and all the work they put in to get to that point.
And with your guys on Colorado State, with your guys' staff's background with Norvell and Banks, does that make you maybe feel a little ahead of schedule coming into the week?
I will say this: if there's 3 games that we could have had, that is just crazy scenarios all the way, right? Jason Eck week 1, obviously the Wisconsin thing week 2, and then obviously Brian Ward being on that Nevada staff last year. Half of the offense is Nevada players. I coach Freddie Banks. We coach Adam Pillipel, their linebackers coach at Wyoming, know him very well, have helped them, in their journey, and we share a lot of ideas in this defense, and I'm proud of their success too. They're going to be fantastic coaches, and they've done an amazing job there. So it'll be another week of channeling emotion, right? You got to go out there and play within ourselves. One thing I was proud of Nakia and the way he handled that, and he was a mature competitor, and we'll have to do that this week in another unique situation. But this is the new college football, right? It just is. You get some of these situations out there, and our guys will be prepared and ready to go.
How could you kind of sum up Banks' defensive philosophy? Is it sort of similar to your guys' in that the bowl tree, and then kind of on that Norvell too? What is his?
Yeah, I mean, just very bend but don't break. The 4-2-5. It's like playing a reflection in the mirror this week, like it is. And so you always worry. Oh, do they have our signals? Do they know what's happening? They know our techniques. They know what hurts us. Like there's a game that I imagine both sides is playing right now in the meeting rooms, going, man, what if they know how we do this and that? So. That's an interesting dynamic, and Coach Norvell, obviously B. Ward being on that staff, but we competed against Nevada when I was at Wyoming for 3 years as well, and explosive down the field. Okay, very much an air raid pass offense. They're gonna really search out the explosive play and have been phenomenal. 14's as good a receiver. He could play anywhere in the country, and he's shown that through the first couple games on what he can do. The slot kid is very good, and the quarterback is very experienced in this system. So as you look throughout their depth chart, there's guys that have played a lot of football on that team.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Against Idaho, you spoke about how you can learn from your win. After the game against Idaho, you spoke about how you can learn from your wins. What did you learn from this win?
That we're a gritty football team. I think last week on Tuesday after practice, I really challenged our mental toughness, like I did. And when you have a good, mature team that wants to compete, they respond to challenges, right? It doesn't take them. They take a hard look in the mirror and see where we can grow. And I thought that's what we did. I felt like our sideline was better. I thought we handled adversity better. I thought we stayed positive better. I thought at halftime the talk was, here we go. We're in this football game. Let's go attack. We get the ball first. And, Renard's kickoff return changed that game. Changed the momentum, changed the feeling, getting points out of half. That was a special teams game breaker that we were searching for. So I thought it was a special moment, but, we're ready to move on to the next one too.
Fantastic. And speaking of moving on to the next one, what is the focus this week, and how do you let the team not get complacent going into practice?
Well, I think the message doesn't change, right? And it starts with us. It starts with me. Right? The standard of the coaching is the standard, right? And the standard is our best in everything we do on and off the field. So there's a standard of preparation, there's a standard of how we game plan, and there's a standard of how we go throughout the week. And that's the message, right? I don't believe in trap games. I don't believe in anything. I believe in preparing the right way to go out there and do what you need to do to be 1-0 each week, period. Okay, so that's the messaging our guys have heard already. They'll hear it again from me at 4:15. And let's go out there and prepare for a football team that's talented and wants to come in here and win. And we got to match that energy and enthusiasm.
Awesome. What improvements did you see Cam Ward make from week 1 to week 2, and what are you looking for him to do this week?
Well, Cam's ultimate competitor, right? So I love that he's not satisfied. But I saw great growth in leadership. I saw great growth in body language. And like I said, he didn't make all the sexy plays either, but there were some times that he got us out of negative plays, which you can't even put a stamp on that. And the scrambling around and navigating in the pocket and then even throwing things away is the sign of growth in a mature player. Okay, but like I said, there's things around him that we need to continue to get better, and Cam needs to continue to keep his eyes down the field as we keep working. But I was happy with the way Cam played, the way he responded from week 1, and he will continue to grow as we keep gelling as an offense and a team.
Coach, to bring you back to the Wisconsin game, you talked post-game about kind of the special relationship you had with your grandparents and the message your grandma shared with you. Can you kind of talk a little bit about your relationship with your grandfather and kind of why that moment meant so much to you on Saturday?
Well, I just think, he passed away years ago, and, it was just a special moment to know that there's a lot of pride, in our family and in our family name, and to be able to do something that I think is just regular people, you never feel like it's going to happen, right? And, so that was special, and it was something she told me pregame, and just honored to represent all those people, like I said, and excited about, what that game meant to everybody.
And then looking forward to this week with Colorado State, it seemed Middle Tennessee was in the backfield a lot on Saturday. Is that, obviously you guys have two of the premier pass rushers in the Pac-12, possibly in the nation. Do you believe that this is a game that could be won or lost in the trenches?
Well, I think, so week one, very happy with sack totals and disruptions. Week two, you didn't see it as much, and that's a credit to Wisconsin and how talented they are. So we need to do a better job of disrupting the passer. I think we got Wisconsin off schedule. We got them in long D&Ds, and we didn't convert and finish, right? This week, these guys, they specialize in passing, and I think that we have to take advantage of our defensive line. They'll get the ball out fast at times, but they'll also sit back and try to take shots down the field. So we got to find ways to be aggressive, and we got to disrupt the quarterback who, to his credit, has stood in there and taken a lot of shots this year and kept going. I got a lot of respect for this guy, and he keeps working hard, and he keeps slugging it away. So we absolutely have to disrupt the passer this week.
And then just one more note on the D-line. Quinn's play on Saturday, coming from, all the way to the line to the second level and being able to jar that ball free. Just can you talk about the hustle from your edges on Saturday, and just does that kind of signify what you want to see from your program?
Yeah, I think it's one of the plays that we show the team and say, hey, this is why we do it. I always love, there's so many. It's one thing to have Coach Dickert and Coach Cooper and Coach Ward saying, run to the ball, okay? This is why we do it. And like I said, that's the standard of the program, but those things don't just happen on Saturday. He's trained himself a certain way to do that over time. And when you get veteran leaders that do that, there's great power in that, and the players keep driving that from within. So proud of that play, proud of that moment, and obviously a big play in the football game.
We saw Langford on the sideline, and then obviously Lee and Brown leaving late. Do you have an update on them? Maybe expect to have them?
No, my trainer meeting's right after this, so I don't have any updates on those guys just yet. Hopefully get those guys back and get them out there.
It's probably an afterthought post-game after that game, but I don't know if you heard about all the, back the pack stuff. And they announced the result at Husky Stadium, and they cheered for you guys. I guess what does it say for the brand of a, quote, small market Power 5 program to go with all this conference realignment stuff happening this offseason to go beat a Big Ten power, just kind of for the brand of Washington State and the Pac-12 in general?
Colton, I'll leave that to you guys. For us, it's taking our team, and our focus was just to win a game on the road against a good opponent. And I know there's reverberations of all that stuff that happened. And like I said, I'm a big fan of the Pac-12. When I see the scores, I want the Pac-12 to win. And I would imagine they share the same thing when they see that. It's a positive thing, but we don't talk about it in the moment. We're just trying to get a big win on the road, and that's what happened.
Was that what you had in mind when you brought the tight end back? A couple big catches. Obviously, we know Billy can block, but he comes up with I think second biggest offensive play of the game in terms of yards.
Yeah, I think it's the multiplicity of it, and be able to do a variety of different things, and especially off of tempo plays, and still be physical and the counters, and that's the vision. And we need to continue to grow that vision as we grow that position. So I think we need to continue to get people that can be very multiple there. Hopefully really to get Andre back in the fold. He was available last week, but, now we feel like he's fully back in the mix. So those are some things that we need to keep churning out that position and keep growing it. And I thought Billy's done a heck of a job since he's been here.
May have been seeing things on TV, but it looked like there were times where Jordan, Sam, and Jaden were all out there, and even based on the snap counts, they all took 45-plus snaps. Were you guys in situations where you had all three out there, and was that just kind of those are three of your best defensive players, you want them on the field?
No, he shouldn't have saw all three of them at the same time. But we did do some sub-package stuff of, because we knew Jay Lee, you can't go into that physical of a game and play 84 snaps, which was amazing that we had to play 84. But, so on some third downs, we'd sub out Jay Lee. Hicks would go to strong. Sam would go in. Obviously, Hicks was playing the free. I mean, there's a lot of packaging going in. It looked like mass shift changes at some time. But, we're going to use those guys to their strengths and continue to grow and find ways, to give Jay Lee blows in certain situations so he can play in the physical downs, which he excels at.
David Gusta seems like he has just come miles from maybe last year where he was banged up a lot of the year. He plays a pretty healthy amount, has the big tackle for loss. Just what have you seen from a guy that, again, just didn't do much last year with the injuries and now is a key part of that D-line?
Yeah, more consistency. And not just in play, consistency in work ethic and mindset and understanding and a growth of an 18-year-old kid to someone that, we really can rely and count on. And David's explosive. It isn't just powerful. He's really explosive. He's put on a lot of size. He came here at 250. I don't know what he officially is now, 285 plus, but he gives us not just power in there, but a little bit of twitch and speed. And been happy with his growth. And same thing, he's no longer a freshman. He has 2 games under his belt. Where can we continue to take his progress? Because, to rotate 6 guys in the interior is a luxury that not many, I don't know how many times in my coaching career we've had 6 guys can play in there. And all kind of uniquely different. So I think he's giving us another element that this defense needs.
Anything else for Coach?
I'll ask one more question. Coach, heading into Saturday, I remember coming into the Idaho game, you were calling for Coug fans to show up for this team because you talked about how hard they'd been working. Now you just beat the number 19th ranked team on the road. You're coming home, 2 o'clock game on Saturday. What's your message to Coug fans right now?
Well, I think it's a great question because here's what I'm happy about. We had a lot of administrators, we had a lot of fans in Madison, and they got an opportunity to see a big-time college environment, big-time college facilities, big-time resources. And at Washington State, we're going to do it our own way. And everyone has their role. I said that in my opening press conference. Right? Everyone has their role. And I hope Cougs everywhere, they go out there and say, I want to come support this team. Okay, you support this team by showing up. And to see 80,000 people in the stands last Saturday was fun for our guys. And we can do that here in Washington State. And, like I said, I hope Cougs everywhere were proud after that game. Okay, and to show that, come support these guys, fill Geisa Field, and let's continue to have some fun and keep building this program the way we all want it to be. So I'm excited about that growth. I've got a million messages, right? And I've told everyone, I appreciate the support. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep building momentum, and I look forward to an electric Saturday here at Geisa Field.
We have much more sports content available for you to watch right now on KREM 2 Plus. To find it, just navigate to the Sports tab at the top of your screen. I'm Travis Green. Thanks for watching.